What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Monday edition of the Pandemic Update for Monday, May 6th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, this is where we do the daily Pandemic Update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you. Let's face it, there's a lot of viruses out there, and each of them carry a health threat and risk to you. I try and keep you informed of where viruses are spreading, what's spreading, and all just to keep you safe and in the know of what is going on. Want to learn more? Want to stay informed? Subscribe down below. Like the content you see today? Give this a thumbs up. Want to share this with anyone you know to help keep more people informed? Hit that share button down below. And if you have a comment on anything you see today, which you're going to see a lot of things, leave a comment down below. Or maybe you just have something to say in general. Alrighty, today we do have quite a bit of data and news stories to take a look at. We are not going to be getting to the hospital capacity, the states that have hospital capacity use over 80%. We're not going to get that today. We may hopefully get to that tomorrow. Like I said, there's a lot of things to look at today. I wanted to get to a few wastewater sites today as well. Not certain if we're going to be able to get to that. I try and keep these videos under 20 minutes. And then we're going to look at some EMS data, New Jersey, New York, our regular stuff. So first off, we have to take a look at New Zealand. As you know, most Mondays we do get updates on what is going on in New Zealand. And New Zealand's update here shows from April 29th to May 5th. Here's what happened for COVID. New cases, 2,287. That is down by 2.4%. Reinfections, 1,379. That's looking like that is about 60.3% of the cases. New deaths, they're up by 72.7%, 19 deaths. In the hospital, 116, that is actually down by 27%, and no people in the ICU, so that's even, that's unchanged from last week. All right, now moving on to this. This is breaking news, basically. This just came in within the last hour or so. CDC, and this has to do with H5N1, bird flu. CDC is asking states to provide farm workers and slaughterhouse employees with personal protective equipment, PPE, to protect them against H5N1 bird flu. That is interesting, and that is concerning that, hey, they're starting to get a little more concerned about what's going on here. I did retweet this whole statement right here if you want to read about it. And yes, CDC is clearly concerned that, hey, this could spread to humans. Therefore, they want them to stay protected if they're working around these animals. And like I have said before, if it spreads to the farm workers, remember, they have families. They interact with other people that then go to other places. I mean, it starts at one place and could spread to other places. So this is relatively concerning, and the CDC's concern level seems to be going up, even though you might think, oh, well, they're doing this out of precaution. We all remember what happened in 2020, so we have to take this seriously when we see something like this. Moving on. What are we moving on to next? Oh, yes. Scientists are developing a new vaccine against present and future COVID viruses. I thought this was rather interesting. Let's just read the key takeaways. Scientists say they are developing a proactive COVID vaccine that could fight strains that haven't even emerged yet. Wow. The technology involves attaching multiple immune system antigens to a nano cage in the vaccine. The strategy worked in mice, shielding them against a strain of vaccine not specifically covered by the shot. In other words, I think they meant to say a strain of COVID, but the point is, if we can come out with something that protects us against future strains that have not formed yet, that would be a really big improvement. All right, moving on now to this. We've been talking about whooping cough from time to time, and it's popping up again over in Europe. The terrifying 100-day cough sweeping Britain. Cases are up 3,800% with young babies at risk. A mother whose child died at 32 days. Oh, that's so sad. Urges action. So yes, again, repeating, 3,800 100% increase in young babies over in Britain at this time. Not going to read the full story. I retweeted it out. You can read it if you want to. All right, now moving on to this. We're kind of going out of order here, but that's fine. This is the weekly BNO update now. And the weekly U.S. COVID update says new cases 47,281. The average is 57,423. That is down by 6,000. States reporting 50 out of 50. In the hospital 4,952. That is down by 913. In the ICU 1,023. That is down by 43. New deaths, still 557, so that is over 500. I'm confident pretty soon we can get below 500 deaths in a week before the next wave comes. The average is 677. That is down by 87. The breakdown for this week's case numbers are as follows. Reports are from 26 states. The estimate is for 24 states. So you can see there's a lot of states that just don't report. This is an estimate. And it says this week's total cases is down 13% from last week. As of this week, hospitals are no longer required to report hospital admissions for COVID, making it even more difficult to track the current state of the pandemic. And this is very true. It makes it harder to track waves. Wastewater is going to become more and more of our friend. Hopefully we do not see wastewater stop. That would be very bad if that happens. There's more here. CDC is asking hospitals to continue reporting COVID data on a voluntary basis, but it's not yet clear how many will do so. We'll provide more details about this next week, BNO will. And if the CDC is asking for them to do it, why can't they just make it mandatory for hospitals to do that? It's not that hard to do. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a big undertaking for them, but quite frankly, we need to know what's going on with this. We need to know what's going on with all viruses. They should be required to report cases of all viruses at any given time. During the past week, 5,098 Americans were hospitalized with COVID, down 9% from the week before. Nearly 5,000 people are currently hospitalized. This is the 42nd weekend in a row with more than 500 new COVID deaths in the U.S., or 57,511 deaths during the same period. So far this year, more than 3.1 million cases of COVID have been reported in the U.S., causing 277,070 hospitalizations and 28,017 deaths. And mind you, that's with not all hospitals testing going into hospital admission. There's so many different factors. Not all hospitals reporting now. So as we know, that is likely an undercount. And here we are, yet another 277,070 people so far this year, just in 2024, just through May 6th, have been hospitalized with COVID. And that number is going to continue to go up. May not go up as fast because of less data, but you get the idea. It's still a pandemic. All right, moving on now to this. Lyme disease in Ohio. I told you, it's a busy news day today. Tick season is here. Here's what to know. So we have some numbers about Lyme disease in Ohio for 2023. They're not good. This has to coincide with climate change a little bit because, more moisture. The warmer the atmosphere gets, the more moisture the atmosphere holds, the more rainfall there is. And Ohio is not in a drought right now. Ohio has been in wet conditions for a while now. And when you're in a wet pattern, guess what happens? The mosquitoes come out and the ticks come out more as well. All these things, they spread more. And ticks like warmer climates. So Ohio residents reported nearly 1,300 cases of Lyme disease in 2023, more than twice the number in 2022, along with Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's the most common tick-borne illness found in Ohio, according to the Ohio Department of Health. If you want to read more about this, I did tweet this out as well. All right, moving on now. This is coming from Moderna. This is rather interesting. I'm a little surprised, actually, that they are tweeting about this. And they said, this is a great reminder here. Your risk of long COVID rises with each additional infection. A recent study has shown that by their third infection, in other words, if you've had your third infection, patients have a 40% chance of developing long COVID. Learn more about the threat of long COVID. They have a link here. And you can see here, one infection is about 15%. 2 infections, it's somewhere around 25%, and then, as high as 40% with a third infection, and God forbid you go on to fourth, fifth, sixth, which some people have, your risk keeps going up. So yes, this is an important reminder that if you want to go out and have your fun, maskless and everything, and disregard wearing a mask and everything and get infected, hey, it comes with great risk. Each time you get infected, your risk of long COVID goes higher and higher. And remember, long COVID started in 2020 before the vaccine. I'm not discounting any potential side effects of the vaccine. I just want you to know the virus itself has been causing long COVID before they generated any vaccine to help prevent COVID. All right, taking a look at allergy map for today. Drum roll, please. We have to refresh this. 47% of the country is at medium or higher percent of pollen levels today. So the pollen levels, it's not the best of a day. A little worse than what we were seeing yesterday. And, of course, the pollen's really going to be spinning up in the plains today, where there actually is a high risk of severe weather. If you're in Oklahoma and portions of south central Kansas, please take your weather warnings seriously today. You're in a high risk of tornadoes, wind, and hail damage. High risk is the highest category that the CDC does put out. I don't have the CDC map up, but trust me, you want to stay informed. And chances are, as we are recording this right now, the threat of tornadoes, it's already ongoing. I'll be looking at that in just a little bit. Taking a look at air quality values today. You can see here, it's not so great ahead of that system. And that's because you have a very unstable, you have a very moisture-filled, humid air mass. So that doesn't help things at all for air quality. And then you come into the Mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic's not so great today. It's sticky, it's muggy here as well. And with that, the air quality is not great. And that even goes back into Ohio. West Coast is not doing too bad. Northern New England's not doing too bad. Pacific Northwest is not doing too bad either. All right, let's take a look at Philadelphia EMS calls yesterday. Back near 800 again. 798 EMS calls. A live look-in. I know we are running late here, but a live look-in at 6:25 p.m. Respiratory emergency. Cardiac arrest. This is Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. You can see there are some calls to be had. Chester County, Pennsylvania. Just a few calls. Respiratory difficulty, heart problems, sick person, stroke, falls, heart problems, choking at this time. All right, drum roll, please. We have to take a look at the new Walgreens update, which, it's really a mixed picture here. Really is. The national positivity trend for COVID, 14%. The prior week was 12.6%. That's a difference of up 1.3%. Total test, 3,763. That's down slightly, we'll say it's down just a little over or under 200 or so. And the prior week was 3,941 tests. All right, you're seeing a lot of red on the map. For some states, it's simply because of testing or a combination of testing and perhaps rising cases. In other states, it's not testing. I think your cases may be starting to go up, at least from a Walgreens perspective. Again, 3,763 tests. That's not a lot of tests, but it does give us a little bit of a sense of what's going on. And you can see here, there's a lot of states that did not report. If all the states reported, we'd probably be closer to 5,000 tests, or at the minimum, over 4,000 tests. Let's take a look at New York State. New York State's positivity rate this week, 20.7%. The prior week was 18.6%. That's a difference of up 2%. Testing was down. It's 150 tests versus 161. We can say that's because of testing. Pennsylvania, 14.6% positivity rate, 11.5% last week. That's up 3%. Testing wasn't down by that much, and you're not doing that much testing. I think it's kind of a combination of testing and maybe a slight rise in cases. Let's go out to Kentucky. Kentucky this week, 7.5% positivity rate, 4.7% last week. Difference of up 2.8%. You can clearly see on the chart here, it is starting to go up. 40 tests versus 43. Again, a combination of both. Let's go somewhere where it's dropping before we go to somewhere there it is not dropping. Indiana, positivity trend, 3.7%. That's down by 7.8%. Last week was 11.5%, and testing's up, 54 versus 52. Wanted to give you a good state before I give you this. Wisconsin. Take a look at that chart. Wow. Wisconsin, 31.9% this week versus last week, which was 16.7%. That's up by 15.2%. Testing is also up, 91 versus 84. Okay, you're not doing a lot of testing. It's under 100. Again, this is a legitimate rise. And yes, your cases are starting to rise. Even if you doubled that amount of testing, you probably would still be seeing somewhat of a rise. It wouldn't be anywhere as significant, but you would still be seeing a rise. And let's go to another state that's having a problem right now, Washington. Take a look at the chart here again. You can see the chart starting to go straight up. This is the state of Washington. 17.5% positivity rate this week. The prior week was 5.1%. That's a difference of up 12.4%. And testing is up 63 versus 59. Let's do one state in the South. Louisiana, the positivity rate is 5.9%. The prior week was 10.3%. Difference of down 4.5%. Total testing is down 17 versus 29. So overall, you are dropping. We'll do one more state on the west. How about we go to the southwest, Arizona? Then we are going to move on. Arizona positivity rate 13.9%. The prior week was 19.6%, down 5.7%. Total test 144 versus 138. Again, on the Nationals' perspective, it's a very mixed picture. We do have some areas that are legitimately rising. We'll take a look at a few more states again tomorrow to see if there's any other states that are legitimately rising. Biobot. Not seeing any update out of Biobot today. As you can see here, it says here the most recent update was back on April 27th. All regions are dropping at this time. We should get an update maybe later today or tomorrow. I don't know. It seems like they just randomly pick and choose a day when they decide to update. New Jersey. Only 57 out of 70 hospitals reported today. Don't know what the future holds for number of hospitals reporting New Jersey. Over the weekend at one point, we did have 69 out of 70, so who knows? Maybe most will still report hospitalization. And remember, real quick, states could make up their own rules. Why CDC may not mandatory make it? Who knows? Maybe New Jersey is going to require all of their hospitals to report. I haven't heard anything, but hey, the fact that we still had a day on Saturday where it was 69 out of 70, who knows? But maybe that was going to be the last week, and we're starting a new week. And as of this week, maybe some hospitals aren't reporting, or simply because it's Monday, and sometimes on Monday, some hospitals still lag from the weekend. So 57 out of 70 hospitals equals 134 hospitalizations, 4 people on a ventilator, and in the ICU, 19 at this time, and discharges 23. New York State, 429 people tested positive on the most recent update, a little bit higher than what we've been seeing for a Monday. And taking a look at hospitalizations, they had 419 on Friday, I believe this was, and in the ICU, 41. I suspect we'll see a small increase tomorrow, like we have been seeing on Tuesdays. We'll have to see what happens with that. Again, I don't think it's going to lead to a massive wave in New York State, but we will see some sort of an increase for a short period of time. I think it's appropriate to say that that is going to happen. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Monday edition of the Pandemic Update. See, I told you, we had a lot of things to get through, which is why we had to can doing the hospital capacity report. We'll do that either tomorrow or at the latest on Wednesday. If you learned anything, subscribe down below. If you liked this video, give this a thumbs up. If you have a comment on anything we talked about today, we talked about a lot, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you want to help keep other people informed, or maybe you want to share with what I'm doing here, share this with anyone you know. Social media, word of mouth. It all works to help keep more people safe. And we are clearly starting to do that because the channel has been growing, which is a good thing. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Monday evening. Thanks for watching.